This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
More Hoosiers are being diagnosed with COVID-19, and tonight even more deaths are being reported. We're breaking down the latest numbers. Plus, the U.S. Surgeon General says Indianapolis could be an emerging hotspot for the coronavirus pandemic. Hear his advice to Hoosiers on how we can flatten the curve. And several local organizations are stepping up to make sure Hoosier healthcare workers on the front lines have the equipment they need. Our Troy Washington tells us the big way the community is working together to battle the coronavirus in Indiana. First at 6 o'clock, wind and sunshine is the story across central Indiana today. Temperatures reaching the high 50s, and we've stayed much drier than this time last night. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Nicole Griffin. Meteorologist Kyle Mounts is tracking your forecast. Kyle, on the way into work, I was having a little trouble on the interstate. It was so windy.
Yeah, it has been gusty all day long, and you've had to really hold on to that steering wheel if you've been out there and kind of catch yourself if you headed out for a walk, because we did have some pretty mild temperatures, but look at these wind gusts topping 50 miles per hour today in Indianapolis, Muncie, and Lafayette, not far behind there in the Bloomington and Shelbyville areas, and it is still gusty out there. We've got that wind gust of 45 miles per hour in Indianapolis. Now, fortunately, it has been out of that warmer southwest direction, so even though it's not been as warm as what we had yesterday, still temperatures are right about where they should be for this time of year. Now, those wind gusts are going to stay up here, but as we get to sunset, they start to come down. Still, though, we're talking between 30 and 40 miles per hour right past midnight, and then even into the overnight hours, those wind gusts still around 30 miles per hour. Mentioned the sunshine. We're enjoying that with 61 on the thermometer in Indianapolis, Martinsville, and Muncie. We'll find those temperatures staying steady and mild here in the lower 50s through 11 o'clock with clear skies.
Kyle, thank you. Breaking news tonight, 2 people are dead and a third person is fighting for his life at the hospital after a shooting on the east side of Indianapolis. IMPD officers were called to the 2500 block of North Emerson Avenue around 3:45 on reports of 3 people shot. All 3 people were taken to the hospital, but 2 have since died from their injuries. The third is a juvenile who is in critical condition. Police are still working to find out what led up to the shooting. The area around a used tire shop was taped off with crime scene tape. Police did say a vehicle was found down the road from this scene, but they are trying to determine how that vehicle is connected. Investigators are asking for the public's help tonight. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS. Now to the latest on the coronavirus in Indiana. The number of COVID-19 cases in our state continues to rise. The State Department of Health says more than 1,500 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with COVID-19. That's nearly 300 more than were reported this time last night. 676 of those cases are here in Marion County. 32 deaths have been reported. Nearly 10,000 Hoosiers have been tested so far for the virus. Taking a closer look at those numbers now, 43.4% of positive cases in the state are among Hoosiers age 0 to 49. 56.7% are Hoosiers 50 and above. 52% of positive cases are female and 47% are male. We expect to get the latest numbers updated tomorrow around 10 a.m. And today, in a series of tweets, U.S. Surgeon General Jerome Adams named Indianapolis as an emerging hotspot for the coronavirus. He says he often gets asked, when will this be over? And he says the honest answer is it depends. He says it's all about flattening the curve and raising the bar so local response capacity isn't overwhelmed. That means driving down acute demand for COVID-19 care and elective procedures and increasing telehealth, social distancing, and good hand and cough hygiene to stop the spread. He says other emerging hotspots include New Orleans, Chicago, Detroit, LA, and Miami. The Surgeon General says no entity can do it alone, and it will require citizen buy-in. In a video just tweeted out by the Indiana State Department of Health, the State Health Commissioner, Dr. Christina Box, addressed how we can help reduce the number of COVID-19 cases in Indiana by continuing to practice social distancing.
Do you know why it's so critical for us all to do our part? If no one practiced social distancing, a person infected can spread COVID-19 to 2 or more people in just 5 days. In 30 days, that same person will have spread COVID-19 to more than 400 people. But that number drops significantly if half of us practice social distancing. Instead of infecting...
She goes on to say if we all practice social distancing, one person can make a difference, help flatten the curve, reduce the number of cases, and help keep our families and our communities safe. Hoosiers helping Hoosiers. Organizations are pulling their resources together to make sure those on the front lines helping with COVID-19 are equipped and protected while doing their jobs. RTV6's Troy Washington is working for you to explain the effort that is making sure hospitals have what they need to slow the spread of the virus.
That's what Hoosiers do. They take care of each other.
Erica Pike is using her hands, her sewing machine, and her background as a seamstress to give to those on the front lines in hospitals, helping slow the spread of COVID-19.
I mean, Hoosier hospitality, that's not just a joke. That's a real thing.
Sewing and serving started small but has grown into a network of thousands of people looking to make masks, and more hands are coming on deck by the second.
In less than a week, we had filled, over 3,000 requests for masks.
From what started out as just a simple question, has turned into 25,000 requests for these in 11 different counties throughout the state.
I think that if we put all of our energy to it, we can really make a real difference as we try to weather this together.
Aaron Brockett is the lead pastor at Traders Point. His church has partnered with more than a dozen other churches to get KN95 masks into hospitals through Launch Fishers.
Initially, we said, we think that we could order 15,000 masks, which we thought that sounded like a lot. And then he said, I can actually get access to 200,000 of them.
Brockett says he's got church members working in hospitals trying hard to help those with the coronavirus and trying to stay protected in the process.
And so I've been talking to a few of them directly, and they've been telling us for a while just how bad it is and that they're rationing masks.
He says the first batch of masks will arrive soon.
They know that Eskenazi has probably the biggest need, and then I'm hearing Methodist and the VA. Obviously, we know that nursing homes need them and first responders need them. So that'll be the challenge, is trying to figure out how to get them to the people that have the greatest need for them.
Working for you, Troy Washington, RTV6.
Troy, thank you, and your help is needed. We will put the details in this story on the RTV6 app with ways that you can get involved. As we continue to practice social distancing to stop the spread of COVID-19, some people are getting outside to exercise here in Indianapolis. Indy Park's playgrounds and shelters are closed to discourage people from gathering and touching those surfaces, but the trails are still open. RTV6 photojournalist Jake Weller talked to people out at Eagle Creek Park today who are spending some time outdoors.
You still want to get out and try to live your life a little bit. You don't want to get too cooped up and go stir crazy. You want to live life. It's just nice just to get a fresh air and just get away from the couch.
Respecting everybody's space and everything, doesn't mean that I have to stay inside the house at least, I can at least take him out for some recreational activities,
Just like catching the fish, because sometimes you'll catch a really big one and it feels like a really big accomplishment, I guess.
Just bringing the family out to get some fresh air. It just helps with being inside all day. We all crave to come out, get some exercise, just to kind of keep moving. Why do you like being outside?
I love muddy puddles.
Don't you think your mother would rather you be clean?
No.
Sun came out, I thought I should get a little exercise in. I've been training for a marathon this summer, so we'll see if that takes place.
You've got teenage children like us. It's good to get outside for a while, just to relieve the tension in the house and just,
When I'm walking, I'm in, God's creation, and I can feel his peace just by, the green grass, the trees getting ready to bud.
It's very relaxing, especially the Eagle Creek here. It's beautiful. Beautiful walk, nice little trail to go to. My wife drugged me out of the house, got me off the couch.
Oh, she did?
Yes. And we decided to take a walk.
Stay well, Indy. Stay out there, social distance, wash your hands. We still practice social distancing. We just stay with our family and walk.
We're not trying to really intertwine with a lot of people, but we're still trying to stay our distance as much as possible.
We keep our distance, but we're cordial to each other. We're, glad to
say hello and just, know that we're doing this all together.
Get out, have some fun, man. Take your kids out, get them out the house, give them a little fishing pole, rinky-dinky one, have some fun.
All right, Jake, thank you so much. Glad to see people are staying positive. Well, the U.S. now has more reported cases of COVID-19 than anywhere in the world. Coming up, the new advisory health officials have put in place for the 3 states at the epicenter of the outbreak. Kyle.
And we just saw a lot of people out enjoying the weather today, but there is a cool pocket of air to the north. Check out Chicago at just 47 degrees when that chilly air will arrive here. You're watching RTV6 News at 6.
This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
More than 130,000 Americans have been diagnosed with the coronavirus, and more than 2,300 people have died. At least 215 million Americans are under some sort of shelter-in-place order. And now the 3 states at the epicenter of the outbreak face new orders. Melissa Rainey has this new information tonight.
This is not a lockdown. It is a travel advisory to be implemented by the states, in essence.
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has issued a travel advisory for residents of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, urging them to refrain from any non-essential domestic travel for 2 weeks. More than half of the cases of coronavirus in the country are in those 3 states, along with nearly half of the deaths. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy says that won't be much different than what people in his state are already doing.
The fact of the matter is people really aren't traveling a whole lot. A travel warning we're fine with. The fact of the matter is we are all in on flattening that curve, social distancing as aggressive as any states in America.
President Trump floated the idea of a mandatory quarantine for the area before members of the White House Coronavirus Task Force talked him out of it.
The reason for that is that you don't want to get to the point where you're enforcing things that would create a big of difficulty, morale and otherwise, when you could probably accomplish the same goal.
Meanwhile, the task force has received proposed guidelines on relaxing social distancing in areas, particularly in Middle America, where infection rates are low. That would allow some businesses and schools to reopen. I'm Melissa Rainey reporting.
Melissa, thank you. Now to your Storm Team 6 forecast. We're taking a live look outside from our IMS Pagoda camera. Meteorologist Kyle Mountain standing by. Kyle, we can see this camera shaking around a little bit with that wind.
Yeah, Nicole, it has been windy all day long. And as we talked about, it's going to continue here a little while longer before those wind gusts start to kind of taper off a little bit. At least we've got some mild temperatures. We're at 61 degrees right now, but there is that steady wind out of the southwest at 30 miles per hour. Again, we've got those gusts over 40 miles per hour right now in downtown. Still have that wind advisory for much of central Indiana until 8 o'clock tonight. Through that time, we're still going to have those gusts up to around 50 miles per hour possible. All right, temperature-wise, we're still all in the ballpark here, around 60 degrees. 59 for you in Tipton, 63 in Bloomington, and 58 in Crawfordsville. So a lot of people enjoying the weather today, and I think Macy is ready to go and ready to be out there enjoying the weather as well. Been resting up on the couch, now ready for that walk. Thanks to Lisa for sending in the photo of Macy there. We'll give it the yellow paw out there this evening as we're going to have the windy conditions still, but temperature is not too bad as we're in the lower 50s with clearing skies by 11 o'clock. And there's the big picture. Satellite and radar, you can see there's rain off to the north, but we are going to be staying dry not only for tomorrow, but really the next several days. So that's the nice trade-off here as we've had a lot of rain. Some areas yesterday picked up over 3 inches of rainfall. Tomorrow, dry conditions for us, temperatures that will be in the 40s, eventually making their way into the 50s. We'll see those winds still breezy tomorrow, but not as gusty as what we've had today. And we're also going to notice they come out of that northwest direction between about 20 and 30 miles per hour for those gusts. They'll start to really taper off here as we get into tomorrow evening, but that does bring in some cooler air, so temperatures may not make it out of the 40s around Logansport and Marion at 44 tomorrow afternoon. We'll make it to 55 though in Indianapolis, and you'll notice that those temperatures are warming as we make our way to the south, even getting back into the lower 60s around Bedford, Seymour, and Bloomington for tomorrow afternoon. But that cool pocket of air that we talked about, we're all going to feel that on Tuesday as temperatures are going to be in the 30s and only making their way into the 40s by Tuesday afternoon. It's a brief shot of some cool air, though, in the 7-day planning forecast, because we're going to rally pretty quickly here as we get into Wednesday. Highs are back in the middle 50s, back to around 60 degrees by Thursday, and even the middle 60s for the end of the week. And as mentioned, a dry stretch of weather for us, certainly much needed here. As we get into Friday and Saturday, just some small chances for showers coming our way. Nicole?
Kyle, thank you. Disneyland and Disney World will remain closed indefinitely. The parks in Florida and California had planned to close through at least March. Now Disney says reopening in early April appears unlikely. It's been paying employees since closing the facilities about 2 weeks ago. Disney says it will continue to do so until April 18th. All of Disney's parks worldwide are shut down due to the coronavirus. If you can show small businesses some love today, it is National Mom and Pop Business Owner Day. According to the U.S. Small Business Administration, there are more than 27 million small businesses in the country. These small mom and pop shops and restaurants are a critical part of our economy. Many may be closed amid the coronavirus crisis, but if a small business opened in your area, show them love and appreciation by shopping there today. If they're not open, you might still be able to buy a gift card online. With stay-at-home orders in place across the country, it may seem like you're alone, but it's important to remember we are all in this together. After the break, hear how people across the country are coping with this new normal. And residents in Milwaukee came together last night to fight off cabin fever. Coming up, how music brought the city together while promoting social distancing.
It's just our way of doing our part.
The coronavirus pandemic has ushered in a new normal for people across the globe. Much of the world is in some sort of required isolation, but it's important to remember that we are all in this together. CNN photojournalist Andrew Chrisman took a moment to talk with people about how they are feeling, and some of their sentiments may be similar to what you're feeling.
COVID-19, how are you feeling?
All things considered, feeling pretty good.
Feeling pretty anxious.
I feel great. No illness, no sickness.
Hasn't been that tough, not really.
First, I wasn't too worried, and then I got laid off.
I'm feeling worried about a lot of my fellow people.
Basically, they just couldn't afford me anymore. It's okay, life is still working out.
How do you feel?
Good.
I'm still feeling like a sad extrovert. I need to see more people.
It just seems a bit surreal. I keep thinking it's going to end soon, but it's not.
Feeling a lot of stress and confusion. It is not clear, where this is going on a long-term trajectory.
On the one hand, it feels really normal, but you also know it's abnormal, and there are small little signs.
I've been working from home since March 13th.
You feel like you've been cooped up in the house for too long?
No.
Do you miss school?
No.
Working from home, watching Netflix.
Trying to stay active as best I can.
Just hanging out in the house and playing the banjo and
looking at the weather change through our window.
I feel like the hardest part is not be able to see our son, who just lives on the other side of town.
It's not normal as usual, but we're surviving.
It's a challenge. We get the 3 kids trying to care for them, do distance learning, and work full-time.
I think the most frustrating part has been people not taking it seriously.
Stay positive, hang in there, use a lot of this stuff.
Breathe in, breathe out, and most of all, pray.
Those free windows will really cost you.
Residents in Milwaukee beat cabin fever by singing along to ABC. The Wisconsin Conservatory of Music put out a call for people to record themselves singing the Jackson 5 classic at 7 Saturday night. People were then encouraged to share their videos online using the hashtag MKESingalong. Organizers say they were inspired by thousands of Italians who simultaneously sang Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer on their balconies last week. All right, Kyle, take it away. Let's hear your voice.
We won't do that, but we could all use some fun karaoke and some fun songs, right, to kind of just lighten the mood.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. Well, tomorrow we've got temperatures that are going to be a little bit cooler than what we had today. We'll start off in the 40s, lower 50s by the afternoon. Going to be a dry day, still a little breezy, though, as we'll have those winds around 15 to 20 miles per hour. The gusts, though, should only get to around 30 miles per hour. That 7-day planning forecast, a fairly dry stretch of weather. We're back in the 60s by Thursday. Thanks so much for joining us here for RTV6 News at 6.